Peace. What's going on, everybody? Give everybody a second to tune on in before we start building on this topic for the day. March 1st, the first of the month. Y'all know today is at 1, so we dealing with the knowledge today, dealing with the foundation. Hopefully everybody's starting this week off on a powerful and productive note. As y'all can see, we got some powerful information to discuss today, man. Powerful information. I ask for y'all to keep an open mind towards this information that's going to be presented to you today. Louisiana, peace. What's going on with you, my brother? How you holding up out here, man? This conversation is for open minds only. Antoinette, peace, queen. What's going on? Nick, what's going on with you, my brother? Max 701, what's going on with you, bro? Again, we dealing with the first, man, so we dealing with knowledge. So I'm gonna throw some knowledge at y'all today, man, dealing with the foundation, and we dealing with the black woman today in regards to her foundation. Louisiana, man, everything is smooth my way, everything is powerful my way. That's how we got to keep it. Foundation, solidifying my foundation today. Evan, peace. What's going on, man? DJ Elmo, peace. Uniquely Amani, beautiful goddess keys. Peace, queens. What's going on with y'all? Oh, Nick, man, you know, I know how I go. We all in the matrix in one way, shape, or another, man. So we all in the matrix, whether it's the corporate matrix, whether it's the entrepreneur matrix, we all in some type of matrix. So it's all good. It's all good. But again, we got powerful information today, man. It's going to be some stuff you may or may not have heard before. I know at one point in time, some years ago, this was a thing. The title of this video, a lot of people was talking about this, but I just came across some information, doing some reading, doing the knowledge to a book that I've been had. And y'all know the great ancestor, Llaila Afrika. Rest in power to the great ancestor, man. This information is found in his book, African Holistic Health. Very interesting information in this particular book. And again, I'm not necessarily saying that this is something that I subscribe to, but some things that he mentioned within this particular insert that I'm about to read can be validated via my research. So there are some points that he made that are valid within this section that I'm about to read. So it's just an interesting perspective, some interesting and valid points that he made in regards to menstruation. CC, peace, what's going on? Ricky, what's going on? So a lot of times they tell you that the truth is stranger than fiction. So a lot of times we have a hard time swallowing or accepting information that's contrary to what we have been led to believe since birth, especially being on the Western Hemisphere. We have been misguided a lot. So a lot of things that's actually that once was normal to us or natural to us, now we look at them as something abnormal. And this can be one of those subjects. Tavon, Justin, peace. What's going on, Justin? I shipped out your powder today, man. But sometimes when it comes to certain pieces of information, certain subjects, you got to empty the mind. You got to eliminate the biases. You got to eliminate everything that you was taught, everything that you believe, and you just got to listen. Got to just listen. Miss Donnie, what's going on? Because again, the truth is stranger than fiction. So when something sounds really strange to me, I'm all ears, because I'm like, man, we have been misguided a lot. So obviously, if it's something that sounds strange to me, that is what actually intrigues me, when something sounds so off the wall, so left field, because I'm like, it may be some truth to it. It may be some truth to it. And this is one of those pieces of information, man. So we about to dive into it, man. Like I said, I'm about to be reading directly out of this book right here. Y'all have seen this book before, man. African Holistic Health by the great ancestor, Llaila Afrika. And if you get the book, We going right to page 357. This is almost like Bible study here. We gonna go right to page 357. So if you don't have the book, once you order the book, because I'm pretty sure after I read what I'm gonna read to you all, you will want to order this book. You're gonna go right to page 357. But this is where we gonna read from, man. And I'm gonna stop every now and then when a valid point is made or when something interesting is stated, just to give it time to marinate and then listen to the input. Because again, some of this information y'all may have heard, some of this information you may not have heard. But again, we dealing with that knowledge today, so we dishing out the information. And y'all know I like to quote my sources and bring my sources to the table. I don't like to just speak about things that I haven't researched or read. Just so y'all don't think I'm up here making things up. Like, this is something that has been said by somebody else, not me. So when people try to attack me, don't do that. Attack the source. Somebody else said this, and then you attack the research that they did. That's how this works. Patrick, peace. What's going on? Miss Donnie, definitely got to reprogram yourself. And I'm glad some queens are on here because this is pertaining to you all. So just listen to this with that open mind and take what you can from it. Take some jewels from it, because I feel like it's a lot of Jews in here, and some of my brothers. Like, it's a lot of Jews in here for us too as well. So I'm going to just start. I'm going to start reading the first paragraph. So I read some of these sentences, man. I'm going to give y'all time. I'm going to give y'all time to let it marinate, because it's going to be a lot. Kev, what's going on? So it starts off. It say menstruation is not normal in a healthy woman. Menstruation is the hemorrhaging and flow of fresh blood. Hemorrhaging, whether it occurs in the brain, eyes, lungs, or uterus, is not normal. Holistically, Black African females on a diet of natural foods do not menstruate. Anthropological studies on African women have verified that ancient African women did not menstruate. Now, that's the first paragraph. And one thing I can say about this, a lot of times we are reading health information by people that don't look like us. So that's why this book is important. This is somebody who looks like us, who has worked with people that look like us. So that's why I feel like this is a valuable resource. A lot of times we so quick to reject our own, but then accept the information from everybody else. So I feel like this is important too. So a lot of us would be quick to write this brother's work off simply because he looks like us, he's Black. But if somebody else says it, we like, that's interesting, it's intriguing. But we tend to reject the information that comes from our own, especially when it comes to like health information. So we real quick to just kind of reject our own. Shine, Montel, peace, what's going on? But the first paragraph, he talked about menstruation is not normal in a healthy woman. Menstruation is the hemorrhaging and flow of fresh blood. Hemorrhaging, whether it occurs in the brain, eyes, lungs, or uterus, is not normal. Holistically, Black African females on a diet of natural foods do not menstruate. Anthropological studies on African women have verified that ancient African women did not menstruate. Now, second paragraph, holistic women follow natural breeding cycles. These natural mating cycles have strict laws. Ancient African women did not have sexual intercourse while pregnant or while breastfeeding or menstruating. Breastfeeding traditionally lasted from 3 to 5 years. Intercourse while pregnant causes the body to alter its nutrient and hormone level. Gonna read that again. Intercourse while pregnant causes the body to alter its nutrient and hormone level. This alters the ability to create healthy cells for the baby's body. Sexual intercourse while a woman is pregnant or breastfeeding decreases the health of the unborn child. Excessive sexual intercourse and out-of-cycle sexual intercourse causes the woman to menstruate. Read that again. Excessive sexual intercourse and out-of-cycle sexual intercourse causes the woman to menstruate. Sexual intercourse at night is abnormal. Gonna read that again. Sexual intercourse at night is abnormal and out of cycle and weakens the sex organs and health. So we gonna repeat that one more time. Sexual intercourse at night is abnormal and out of cycle and weakens the sex organs and health. No animal or insect that eats during the daylight hours has sex at night. Sex during the daylight hours follows the circadian rhythm of the body. Nighttime sex exploits the female emotionally and spiritually and contributes to the hemorrhaging called menstruation. Born Eternal Lord of Law, Peace God, what's going on? Mr. Black Culture, what's going on? I'm going to repeat this last sentence because I feel like it is important. Sex during the daylight hours follows the circadian rhythm of the body. Nighttime sex exploits the female emotionally and spiritually and contributes to the hemorrhaging called menstruation. So how many have heard this type of information about it being negative, toxic, bad for your health to have sex at night? Justin, yes, according to this information, mind you, according to this information. But then when he brings up the point, no animal or insect that eats during the daylight hours has sex at night. Now, I don't know if you all can recall any animals that eat during the daylight hours that have sex at night. I cannot think of any. If you all can think of some, please let me know. Please write that in the comments. I cannot think of any animals or insects that eat during the daylight hours that have sex at night. Let me know if y'all can think of any. Jay, Peace, what's going on? Just let me know if y'all can think of any, because I couldn't think of none off the rip. Again, if y'all can think of somebody, think of an animal or insects that eat during the day and has sex at night, please let me know. Please put that in the comments. Please put it in the comments, because again, we could easily be overlooking something here. So if somebody knows something, let me know, because I didn't know. When I came across, I couldn't think of any. Most of the animals and insects that I have looked at, that I have studied, that eat during the day, they have sex during the day. But again, I'm limited on my animal research. I'm not an expert on animal research. But the ones that I have seen that eat during the day, that's what they do during the day also. Antoinette, and that's where I was going with it. It's normal for us to be asleep at night. So that does make sense. That's why it also was resonating with me too. I was like, that makes sense, because we technically not even supposed to be awake at that particular point of time. Six USF bomber. I don't know. I haven't seen that from cats. I haven't seen it. See, now y'all validating it, because now y'all making everything make sense. See, exactly. Magic Rims, Peace, what's going on? See, this got y'all thinking. Now everything is lining up, everything is making sense. And that was just paragraph number 2. We finna go to paragraph number 3 here. Okay, the vaginal fluid discharge, not vaginal lubrication for sex, of the female causes menstruation. So the vaginal fluid discharge of the female causes menstruation. Vaginal discharge is very high in hormones, vitamins, and minerals. That's true. It is a highly concentrated mixture equal to the nutritional concentration of semen. Also true. The nutrition that is lost due to this milky discharge causes the endometrium, uterus skin, tissue to lose its vitality and deteriorate. This cellular deterioration is known as hemorrhaging and is commonly called menstruation. So we gonna double back on that. The vaginal fluid discharge of the female causes menstruation. Vaginal discharge is very high in hormones, vitamins, and minerals. Fact, it is a highly concentrated mixture equal to the nutritional concentration of semen. Fact again, the nutrition that is lost due to this milky discharge causes the endometrium, uterus skin, tissue to lose its vitality and deteriorate. This cellular deterioration is known as hemorrhaging and is commonly called menstruation. That's paragraph number 3. Antoinette, we definitely about to get into it. Now we about to go into number 4. We're going to keep reading here. Some valuable information. All women do not have moon cycle menstruation. Eskimo women menstruate on a solar cycle every three years or more. Their menstruation is very light and not the gush of blood of today's hemorrhaging menstruation. Menstruation that occurs among women that are on a natural diet and are not holistic in sexual practices always occurs on a solar sun period. Lunar moon periods are a new occurrence among females. That's some new information. That's some new information. So we gonna double back, read it again. All women do not have moon cycle menstruation. Eskimo women menstruate on a solar cycle every 3 years or more. Their menstruation is very light and not the gush of blood of today's hemorrhaging menstruation. Menstruation that occurs among women that are on a natural diet and are not holistic in sexual practices always occurs on a solar sun period. Lunar moon periods are a new occurrence among females. Variant B9, peace. What's going on with you? Appreciate you tapping in when you have the ability to tap in. It's all good. It's all love. Now we going on. Now it's about to start getting a little bit deep right here. Lunar menstruations, periods, may be socially engineered and are genetically transmitted, passed on from generation to generation. Read that again. Lunar menstruations, periods, may be socially engineered and are genetically transmitted, passed on from generation to generation. The lunar period may have been caused by the consistent and persistent habitual lunar sex, orgies, and raping of women, and the nutritionally inadequate diet of the women. Khalil, peace, what's going on? We gonna repeat that. This is important information right here. The lunar period may have been caused by the consistent and persistent habitual lunar sex, orgies, and raping of women, and the nutritionally inadequate diet of the women. That is important. The lunar sex rituals and ceremonies modified Caucasian culture and modified the women's hormonal cycle and menstruation. Eventually, the socially and sexually engineered Caucasian women passed the hemorrhaging trait to future females. The Caucasian men's fertility rituals involve groups of men raping Caucasian women has caused them to develop a predisposition for romance, lust, and lunar hemorrhaging menstruation. We gonna read that again. The Caucasian men's fertility rituals involve groups of men raping Caucasian women has caused them to develop a predisposition for romance, lust, and lunar hemorrhaging menstruation. African women in slavery, colonialism, and Caucasian oppression were forced to follow Caucasian sex rituals and ceremonies and the lunar hemorrhaging cycles, as well as sex, lust, and romancing of Caucasian culture. Savine, yes, sir. It's coming from Llaila Afrika's book, African Holistic Health. I put it in the description, too. Dominique, what's going on, my brother? So we're going to go back on that last sentence. African women in slavery, colonialism, and Caucasian oppression were forced to follow Caucasian sex rituals and ceremonies and the lunar hemorrhaging cycle, as well as sex, lust, and romancing of Caucasian culture. The Caucasian religions and medicine believe this or abnormality is necessary. The Caucasian religions and medicine believe this abnormality is necessary. Often, blood thinning herbs that help induce hemorrhaging are taken by women because the women believe in menstruation. They herbally make themselves menstruate. We gonna double back on that again. The Caucasian religions and medicine believe this abnormality is necessary. Often blood thinning herbs that help induce hemorrhaging are taken by women because the women believe in menstruation. They herbally make themselves menstruate. Menstruation is the loss of fresh blood, not diseased blood. It was and is commonly believed in religions that the woman is purging herself of sinful blood. Fact. This Caucasian myth is subconsciously promoted by women and men. It is not a biological or anatomical fact that hemorrhaging is normal or that this blood is sinful and unneeded. It is science mythology. This is an important paragraph. Menstruation is the loss of fresh blood, not diseased blood. It was and is commonly believed in religions that the woman is purging herself of sinful blood. This is a fact. They did believe this, and some do still believe this. This Caucasian myth is subconsciously promoted by women and men. It is not a biological or anatomical fact that hemorrhaging is normal or that this blood is sinful and unneeded. It is science mythology. In nature, menstruation among female animals occurs whenever the female is enslaved. Listen to that sentence once again. All for wisdom, peace, what's going on? Listen to this sentence. In nature, menstruation among female animals occurs whenever the female is enslaved. Female animals such as wild wolves, bears, gorillas, goats, pigs, kangaroos, cats, monkeys, sheep, and other female mammalians, animals that feed their babies milk, will menstruate when enslaved. Enslaved animals are those domesticated by Caucasians, such as those that are in a zoo, circus, breeding farm, or kept as pets. Enslavement causes the behavior, hormonal level, and nutritional diet of the animal to be altered according to the needs of the enslavers. Fact: female animals put in a Caucasian, socially restricted, and controlled behavioral situation will menstruate, while so-called wild-free female animals do not menstruate. Aside from this, diet contributes to female menstruation. For example, female and male gorillas given a so-called modern diet, junk food, cooked food, and animal flesh will masturbate, menstruate, become violent, have excessive sexual intercourse, and do homosexual activities. We gonna read that again. We breaking that down again. Aside from this, diet contributes to female menstruation. For example, female and male gorillas given a so-called modern diet, junk food, cooked food, and animal flesh will masturbate, menstruate, become violent, have excessive sexual intercourse, and do homosexual activity. For all the people that act like what you eat does not affect or impact your hormones, here's the information, because this is a fact. I've read this in more than enough books. This can be validated. This can definitely be validated. This is not something that's a myth. Eating these type of foods definitely alters your hormones, and it can definitely lead to excessive sexual intercourse and homosexual activities. It can definitely do that. That is definitely a fact. This is not just something that's in this particular book. This is not a myth. This is something that has been validated by a lot of health books. So for people to act like what you eat doesn't have an impact on your hormones and homosexual activities and things of that nature, think again. Why do you think, on the flip side of that, why do you think that they have certain foods and herbs and supplements and powders that they recommend for boosting or improving that sexual energy? Like impotence, when you suffer from impotence and things of that nature, erectile dysfunction, they literally have foods, they literally have a diet that you can follow to improve that. Literally. So why do you not think that there is a certain way that you can eat that will lead to excessive sexual intercourse, homosexual activities, violent behavior, things of that nature? This is a fact. It's an actual fact. Now we about to go back and read. Menstruation can be irregular, cramping, and of long duration owing to manganese, iron, and calcium deficiency. A female at any age with a brief period of manganese deficiency can biochemically cause a menopausal episode. A fertile woman's menopausal episode can be hours or a few days of duration. It usually goes unnoticed by young females because they still have a lunar period. Stressors, example, emotional, oppression, dietary, social, relationship, etc., can cause hormonal imbalances. Fact: that decrease oxygen and nourishing blood to the uterus and increase waste and carbon dioxide in the uterus. This weakens the uterus and contributes to menstruation hemorrhaging. Hormonal imbalances caused by estrogen and steroid hormones in non-organic eggs, dairy, and meats causes the uterus to oxidize, deteriorate, and this contributes to infertility and uterus hemorrhaging. Fact again. Actual fact. Ayo 1212, what's going on? We're going to read that again because this is something that I can validate here and confirm. Hormonal imbalances caused by estrogen and steroid hormones in non-organic eggs, dairy, and meats causes the uterus to oxidize, which means deteriorate, and this contributes to infertility and uterus hemorrhaging. Unless the male's frequency is constant and synchronized with the frequency of the ovaries and holistic, health of the women, there will be infertility. The sperm has two frequencies and the ovaries, eggs, have two frequencies. They must be both on the same frequency for fertilization. A weak uterus and ovaries have unstable frequencies. Hemorrhaging weakens the uterus, fallopian tubes, and ovaries. We still going. Menstruation is not normal. However, menstruation is not necessarily caused by an abnormality in Black women alone. This unnatural condition is shared by Black men as well. Caucasian science teaches Blacks to be unaware that the woman's brain, according to body weight, is larger and more convoluted than the man's brain. Women have two X chromosomes. The X chromosomes carry the genetic immunity factors, while the Y chromosome does not. Men have one X and one Y chromosome. Women's eggs determine the below waist characteristic, sex of the child. Men's sperm determines the above waist characteristic, personality traits. Women have a greater endurance capacity, and fossil relics verify that women have had muscular development equal to men. Additionally, women have 3 lobes on their thyroid. This increases cell growth and rejuvenation ability, and men have 2 lobes. Women have 2 generative sex centers in the brain, and men have 1. This increases intelligent states. The myths, lies, and bias in Caucasian religion, science, and social institutions influence the way the female anatomy is interpreted. We're gonna keep it going. We're gonna keep it going because we almost at the end. Caucasian men use menstruation to control women. Repeat that again. Caucasian men use menstruation to control women. And at one time, a woman who did not menstruate was murdered because she was considered to be a witch. Actual fact once again. This is an actual fact. And at one time, a woman who did not menstruate was murdered because she was considered to be a witch. This is a fact. Menstruating women are in a weaker physical, spiritual, and mental state and easier to dominate. In ancient African cultures, that's important. Women who menstruated were isolated and given herbal medicine because menstruation was considered a problem and a disease symptom of the village. Let me read that again. In ancient African cultures, women who menstruated were isolated and given herbal medicine because menstruation was considered a problem and a disease symptom of the village. Women were not isolated because they were sinful or evil, but because they were in a disease condition and needed the disease to be holistically corrected. The ancient Africans realized that menstruation is not normal and that it reflects a tribal or cultural disease. Today, it is a symptom of Caucasian oppression. The ancient Africans realized that menstruation is not normal and that it reflects a tribal or cultural disease. Today, it is a symptom of Caucasian oppression. Menstruation has many aspects that affect the totality of African people's lifestyles. Menstruation by Black African women is a recent occurrence. Menstruation by Black African women is a recent occurrence. No anthropological research or research from medical science or veterinarian science can validate that hemorrhaging is normal for women. Menstruation is often justified by a culture's lunar zodiacal rationales. The zodiac concepts are a cultural language that varies in each culture. In African cultures, zodiac science, if applied to an individual, was applied at conception. African cultures, zodiac science, or in African culture, zodiac science, if applied to an individual, was applied at conception. In other words, the zodiac sign starts at conception, not birth. That's something that a lot of people don't know as well in regards to the ancient Africans. In other words, the zodiac sign starts at conception, not birth. So not when you was born, but when you were conceived. Big difference. So we be embracing the zodiac signs from the moment we were born. They looked at it from the moment you were conceived. Totally different. Totally different. Ironically, 90% of all holistic African births occur between May and June. Consequently, the other signs of the zodiac were rarely applied to Africans. Today, the majority of births in countries such as those in France, Germany, Australia, Canada, America, etc., still occur during May and June. This further validates that a natural mating cycle still exists among humans. Africans followed this mating cycle every 3 years and had classical menstruation that lasted a few hours or a day. It required no sanitary napkin. Tribes and cultures, which lost great numbers of people due to Caucasian wars and disease, would increase sexual intercourse and have out-of-cycle sex to regain a population. However, this procreation was a temporary mating practice and abnormal. Excessive sexual intercourse causes nocturnal emission, prostate problems, impotency, and decreased thinking among men. We gonna read that again. Gonna read that again for you fellas out here. Excessive sexual intercourse causes nocturnal emission, prostate problems, impotency, and decreased thinking among men. That's important for my fellas out here. Excessive sexual intercourse always causes menstruation among women. In fact, women prostitutes have longer bleeding menstruation due to excessive sexual practices. In any case, the children conceived during non-mating cycles have behavior, emotions, thoughts, and spirituality that has adapted to the biochemical oppression. Hemorrhaging, bleeding among African women represents a deterioration of the African culture and race and is a form of genocide. Fruitarian and vegetarian women normally do not menstruate. If they do menstruate, it consists of 2 or more drops of blood. And I've actually read this from women who went plant-based, who went vegan, who went raw. So I've heard this. I've heard this. Again, don't shoot the messenger, but I have heard this be stated from women who follow these lifestyles. I have heard this about the size of a pea from the unfertilized egg. So I'm going to read that again. Earth Angel Breed, what's going on? Fruitarian and vegetarian women normally do not menstruate. If they do menstruate, it consists of 2 or more drops of blood about the size of a pea from the unfertilized egg. The lymph glands absorb the non-fertilized egg atrophy, which means waste, and remove it out of the body. A blood flow, dead egg waste, of a few hours or days or no blood flow is normal. I'm gonna read that again. A blood flow, dead egg waste of a few hours or days or no blood flow is normal. Menstruation in African cultures must be treated as a cultural imbalance and a form of genocide and the hormonal and biochemical effect of white supremacy. Again, that was the end of that section. A lot of information. As I asked for you to just keep an open mind to that information. Again, this ain't something that I say I'm subscribing to. I'm just reading from the source. You can take this information and do whatever you please with it, but I do feel like this is some valuable information and it's giving you another perspective, deeper outlook. Again, it's challenging the status quo, something we have been led to believe. It's giving you another side to it, and they tell you the truth is stranger than fiction. So while this may sound crazy to some, it's normal to others, as he said. Hey, yo, 1212, that's exactly who I'm referring to. That's exactly who I'm referring to, the Mucusless Diets. I have heard that from some of them. D Monty, definitely a lot deeper. Rude Boy, the book, African Holistic Health, Llaila Afrika, the great ancestor. Llaila Afrika, African Holistic Health. But yeah, D Monty, and the thing of it is, it becomes sensitive, especially when a male is reading this information or writing about this information. A lot of women say, I'm not going to have a man telling me about my body. But see, I feel like that's a mistake. I feel like when you have that outlook, you are eliminating picking up on any type of jewel simply because you so focused on the messenger. You so focused on the fact that it's a man writing about or reading about the woman's body, the woman's anatomy, that you blinded yourself to some of the truths that can be buried within it. So you got to eliminate the biases, man. You got to eliminate the preconceived biases and all of the beliefs that you once held. As Bruce Lee said, you got to empty the cup. I have gained plenty of fitness jewels, nutrition jewels about my body from books that were written by women. So I'm not about to say, oh, that's a woman writing about the male's anatomy. I'm not about to listen. Anybody can give me a jewel. Anybody. I'm going to take that jewel if it makes sense to me, and I'm a fact check it. I'm a fact check it. And it was some things in this book that I had already came across. That's why I stopped when I read some of the sentences and was like, it's a fact, because I have came across some of what he mentioned in this particular book. I have came across a lot of it, but I definitely came across some of this that could be validated. And that's why I stopped and was like, it's an actual fact. Yeah, CC, and that's what's crazy. And the funny thing about that is women out here teaching incorrect information on the women's body, on the woman's body. So let's talk about that. You know, it's a lot of people that get all on the defense or get offensive, however you want to refer to it. They get offensive when it's a male out here reading about the women's body or writing about it. But what about these women that's out here misleading other women in regards to the woman's anatomy, the woman's body? Because that's happening. What about these women out here that are encouraging people to eat the animal products, the dairy products? Like, they mislead me. They causing you to poison your body, and that's coming from another woman. But when I tell you to lay off of the animal products, the dairy products and all of that, and go plant-based, and I relate that to menstruation, you finna eliminate any credibility simply because I'm a man. We got to stop doing that. We got to stop doing that. Like I said, I picked up plenty of jewels, plenty of fitness jewels, plenty of health jewels from books written by women. So don't shoot the messenger, man. Don't go at the messenger. Just listen to the message. We got to learn how to listen to the message. Settle on the best part. Settle on the things that really make sense. And if it's something that don't make sense, investigate it. Don't just write it off because it doesn't make sense to you at this moment. You're not going to get everything. You're not going to pick up. You're not going to pick up everything the first time you hear it. You're not going to pick up everything the first time you hear it. So if you hear something, just because it doesn't make sense to you, doesn't mean that it's not a fact. Doesn't mean that it's not a truth. That's another thing that we do. We write things off because it doesn't make sense to us at the moment that we hear it. Like, that doesn't make sense, so it can't be true. No, that means you have some more investigating to do. Just because it doesn't make sense to you today doesn't mean it won't make sense to you tomorrow or a week from now. That means you just got to investigate it. But if you leave it at the level of it doesn't make sense, then you're never going to really extract the jewel from it. So you got to investigate the things that don't make sense to you. If you read something or somebody reads something to you and it was interesting, it was something that you never heard before, don't stop there with it. Keep digging, keep researching. Like, man, I never heard that before. Let me research it. See what you can find on it. That's how you're supposed to approach the situation. Don't just take it and say, man, I ain't never heard that before. That was crazy. No, dig deeper, research that. Always. That's what you always want to do. So I can't stress the importance of just having an open mind. And where my man Shine goes. See, my man Shine got to have an open mind. He said he wasn't touching this one. These are the topics that you got to touch. The ones that you think that you shouldn't touch, those are the ones that you must touch. That's how you grow. That's how you grow in your perspective, and that's how you grow as a person. So the topics that you think you need to stay away from are the topics that you need to gravitate towards, because that's going to help you become better mentally. That's going to help you become stronger. That's going to strengthen your sword. That's going to strengthen your mentality. That's going to strengthen you. So I don't ever run away from any subject matter. I'm listening to everything, and I'm about to see what makes sense. And if it don't make sense, or if it's something that I haven't heard before, I'm going to research it. I'm going to research it. So again, don't run away from it, because it may be something that you don't agree with. It may be something that you haven't heard before. It may be something that strikes a nerve, whatever it is. Don't run away from it. Deal with it. Listen. Again, you may be surprised in regards to what you take away from it, because I guarantee you can take away something from it. The information that I read, I guarantee you that everybody, whether you a male or a female, you can take something positive from the information that I read from this particular text. Guarantee it 100%. If the only thing you take away is the last thing that I read was fruitarian and vegetarian women, boom. If you just listen to that and say, I'm going vegetarian or I'm going fruitarian, then that's it. That's your Jew. That's your Jew. That's your Jew. Rude boy. Yeah, I have talked about that before. When even when you study in other cultures like Qigong, they tell you that is the life force. That's the life force. That's what they tell you. DJ Elmo, it's very important for everybody to know this particular information. Like anatomy shouldn't just stop at your anatomy. So we study all anatomies. Hence why this information is important. Oh, Lindell, all of that is definitely negative, and all of that definitely causes problems. And another thing too, because I train a lot of women, a lot of those things, a lot of those side effects from like the shots and whatnot, the side effects, weight gain. So you taking all these measures for birth control, and now you got a bunch of weight that you're trying to lose now. You done gained all this weight because that's a side effect. You done gained an extra 30, 40 pounds. And it's hard to lose it because you still on the medication. So a lot of people don't understand that, man. It's contributing to the decline of your health. Some of these measures that people are taking out here. Oh, D Monty. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I said today is the foundation. Like again, when you talking about the black woman, guess who you still talking to the black man, and vice versa. When you talking about the black man, guess who you still talking about? The black woman. It's like we connected. We connected, whether we want to admit it or acknowledge it or not. We connected 1,000%. You can't talk about the black woman and it not involve the black man. You can't talk about the black man and it not involve the black woman. Just can't do it. Just can't do it. See, we have been terribly brainwashed, terribly. And that's why when you read things like this, that's why I look at it like it makes sense. It makes sense because I gotta go back and I gotta say, man, who taught us to think or believe some of the things that we believe in? And it goes back to the Europeans. It goes back to the white folks. It goes back to Western America. So you got to start asking yourself, man, what was normal to us before we were enslaved? You got to ask yourself these important questions. These are very important questions. Yeah, we are a powerful people. We swift and changeable. We can adapt and adjust to anything. We can do that. But we never want to ignore the basics. We never want to ignore the foundation. It's like exercising. Yeah, we going to improvise and we going to evolve and create a bunch of new exercises over time. But guess what? The greatest exercises still are to this day. Some of the original exercises, the squat, the bench press, the deadlift, some of the things that people have been doing since they picked up a weight. Those exercises still cannot be defeated no matter how many new exercises we create. When you create an exercise regimen, you're going to include some form of squatting, deadlifting, bench pressing in order to maximize your potential and reach your goals. So again, you cannot run from the basics. No matter how many exercises we can create, you still going to have to deal with the basics. And that's what's important to remember about our culture. Like We adapting and we adjusting, but we still can't deviate and run from the basics, our true nature, our foundation. So we gotta remember that. We gotta remember that. Oh, magic rims. It's a lot. It's a lot. Oh, Dominique, you know how I go. And I even study what's so-called evil, because even what's so-called evil ain't necessarily really evil. It's all about perception. It's all about perception. And then studying evil, studying what's evil and studying what's wicked helps you understand the people that got a hold on our people. So I still study that. I still study that. I study the evil. I study the wickedness, because that's how they captured us. That's how they got us. That's how they got control over us and oppressed us. They studied us. So when I study evil and study wickedness, I'm studying them. I'm studying them in order to get 20 up on them. Uniquely Amani, 1,000%. We already know how I go. We already know how I go with the healthcare system. The healthcare system, that's an inside job. We already know how that go, man. We can't be dependent on them for our healthcare. Like, I done been there, done that with all type of ailments, man, all type of symptoms that didn't get properly treated, that I had to figure out on my own after going to the experts millions of times. Like, been there, done that. Change up the way that you eat and you exercise, and now you good. But it's like they was just trying to treat the symptom by giving you the medication, which was making everything worse, which kept you going back to them for stronger prescriptions. So we know how that go. We know how that go. A lot of this medication out here destroying your liver and all types of other nonsense, man. They found, man, I ain't even, that's another video, man. I was finna get into a whole spiel about things like aspirin and ibuprofen, man, and the damage that stuff is causing, man. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull up a brief article. Let me see if I can find some real quick, man, because this gonna be interesting if I can find that article. If I can find this article, man, I hope I can find it. Yeah, let me see. I think I got it right here. Let me see. Here we go, right here. I'm finna read something to y'all, man. This how garbage the healthcare system is. This how garbage these drugs are. Listen. This was in 03, but this just lets you know how wicked stuff is. A division of the pharmaceutical company Bayer sold millions of dollars of blood clotting medicine for hemophiliacs, medicine that carried a high risk of transmitting AIDS to Asian and Latin America in the mid 1980s, while selling a new, safer product in the West. Listen to what I just said, man. A division of the pharmaceutical company Bayer sold millions of dollars of blood clotting medicine for hemophiliacs, medicine that carried a high risk of transmitting AIDS. Medicine carried a high risk of transmitting AIDS to Asia and Latin America in the mid 1980s, while selling a new, safer product in the West. The Bayer division, Cutter Biological, introduced its safer medicine in late February 1984 as evidence mounted that the earlier version was infecting hemophiliacs with HIV. So they was giving you medication that was infecting you with HIV. The aspirin that we love. The aspirin that we love was infecting people with HIV, and they knew this. So this ain't no conspiracy. This ain't no conspiracy. They knew this actually happened. They knew that they were doing this. This is not something that's false. They admitted to doing this. Listen, yet for more than a year, it continued to sell the old medicine overseas, prompting a United States regulator to accuse Cutter of breaking a promise to stop selling the product. By continuing to sell the old version of the life-saving medicine, documents show Cutter was trying to avoid being stuck with large stocks of product that was increasingly unmarketable in the US and Europe. So they was just trying to get rid of the product, knowing that this product, oh my God, knowing this product was infecting people with AIDS or HIV. So they was just trying to dump the inventory. And they knew that this medicine was infecting people with HIV and AIDS, but they was trying to dump inventory. This is actual fact. Y'all can do the knowledge to it. Just type in HIV Bayer aspirin in Google, and you're gonna see a ton of articles. Like this is no conspiracy. This is something that actually happened. A lot of documents to confirm what went down. So this is something that actually went down. The aspirin that we love dearly was infecting people with HIV/AIDS, and they knew this. And they was purposely shipping it out to certain populations overseas. So it's like, come on now. This was actually happening. We can't make this up. We can't make this up. I didn't make that up. See, a lot of people call things conspiracy. They would say I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I didn't make that up. I didn't write this article. I didn't write these articles. I didn't write this story. Like I didn't make a book where this was a story. This is these are actual facts, actual articles, actual documents. So I'm not the conspiracy theorist, man. I'm just pointing out the documents. I'm the messenger. I'm the messenger of things that happen. I'm the messenger of history. Like these are things that happen historically speaking. They shouldn't have did it. That's their fault. But this is something that actually happened. I remember I did the knowledge of this way back in the day. It was YouTube documentaries on it and everything. You probably can't find them now. But I was watching whole documentaries on this particular incident right here. So I'm glad I was able to pull up the article. But that's crazy. Aspirin was out here giving people HIV/AIDS. Aspirin. The aspirin that we love today, when you get that headache, aspirin. But a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that. Rude boy Don Dada, man. If I got some info on anything, I'm gonna talk about it. Now, if I don't have the knowledge on it, I'll leave that for the people that got the knowledge on it or some knowledge on it. And again, even when it comes to certain subjects, if I've read about it, I'm gonna bring up the source. Now, certain things I can just talk about based off of my research, like anything pertaining to like fitness, exercising. I can talk about that off the top of my head. Some things I'm gonna just bring to you what I have read about it. So then you can pretty much argue with the source, not me. People still gonna argue with me though. Like with this information, somebody still gonna argue with me as if I read everything, as if I wrote everything that I read. Oh, D Monty, you already know it. You already know it. Yeah, Justin, get that book. Ataka Zulu, you already know. You can never get away from that foundation, from the basics. Can never get away from the basics. We be doing all this creating, but again, when it comes to exercising, you see a bunch of people doing a lot of fancy things. I may do it from time to time just to let you know I still got it. But at the end of the day, you don't have to do anything special. You don't have to do anything crazy to reach your to get your results from a fitness perspective. Do the simple lifts: squat, bench, deadlift, push up, pull ups, military press. These are things we have been doing since the beginning of time. So it's nothing new under the sun. Everybody be looking for a crazy routine to get them into shape. You don't need a crazy routine. You just need to stick to the basics. I tell people that all the time. It's not fancy. You don't have to be fancy getting into shape. It's not fancy. It's boring. It's boring, but that's good though. That's good though. Keep it simple, stupid. But a lot of times we want that mystery. We want something that's fascinating. We want something that's off the wall, that's crazy. We don't like things that are just basic. And sometimes that basic and that simple stuff can save your life. DJ Elmo, man, according to the information, which it kind of makes sense when you do the knowledge to the information. Lindell, most definitely, man. Just do what you need to do. Just take care of that body. Supply your body with what it needs. DeMonty, and that's the question of the ages right there. It's the question of the ages. Ataka Zulu, man, I did a whole 24-hour fast Sunday and feel 20 times better. Matter of fact, I had a few clients do the water fast as well, and they actually broke through a wall. So they had been stuck at a certain weight. I had them do a water fast just 24 hours, but it was a little bit longer. So it was probably about 30. They may have did like 36, 30 hours or something, depending on how much sleep they got. And they broke through the wall. So now they at a weight that they haven't been at in a minute, simply by fasting. And they were surprised. They were so surprised at how good they felt that now they want to fast again on Wednesday. See, this is the power of fasting. But no doctor is about to tell them to fast. No doctor would have been like, oh, you having problems getting this weight down? Fast. Ain't no doctor about to tell them that. No doctor about to tell them that. Like I said, they have made a few things the enemy that were never the enemy, and fasting is one of them. Man, fasting is age old. Man, fasting has been with us since the beginning of time, since the beginning of man, since the beginning of woman. We have been fasting. Like that has been something that we have done for medicinal purposes, man, just to reclaim our health and just to get healthier and reverse illnesses and ailments and things of that nature. We have been doing that. This ain't nothing new under the sun. Yeah, DeMonte, we see that all the time, man. They promote the medication all on the television and whatnot. Then they tell you the side effect. It be crazy. The side effects be crazy. Side effects be depression, suicide, insomnia, and then at the end they be like death. So it's like, man, I don't want that. I don't want that, man. Side effect is death. Like they giving you some, the side effect may be death, insomnia, suicidal thoughts, depression. Like it ain't even that serious. Oh yeah, Dominique, I can see that. That's wicked. That's wicked. Terenzo, peace. What's going on? Oh yeah, DeMonte, like I said, man, when I did the knowledge to the HIV and the aspirin, I was like, all right. I was like, come on, man, that's ridiculous. See, I saw something about that, man. People don't really be understanding, man, about the dangers that come with medication and things like that. Outside of vaccines, we know how trash vaccines are, man, but the medication, man, the medication can give you the same problems that these vaccines will give you, man. So you got to be mindful when it comes to these medications as well. Like say, they then became blind, disabled from some medication, from some meds. We already know the Tuskegee experiment, see, that was popular, but they didn't had a lot of low-level experiments of the same nature. So we got to be mindful of all of this. That's why when people ask me, man, some of my clients were surprised. They asked me like what I take for pain. I was like, nothing. I was like, man, I'd get me some like spices or some herbs or something, man, like some garlic, ginger, turmeric, all of that. Like I'm not taking any medication. I ain't taking no ibuprofen or no aspirin. They was like straight surprised. I was like, whoa. I had to drop a little jewel on them. I had to let them know what's happening when they continue to take the medication. So we gotta be mindful of what's really going on. We gotta be mindful of what's really going on. Yeah, Miss Donnie, you already know. No money in the cure. No money in the cure. And if it was money in the cure, you already know what they'll be on. They'll be trying to profit from it. They'll be trying to profit from it. We already know. Yeah, DeMonte, they have done that. It's crazy. Not only did they do that with Dr. Sebi, but this is what's funny too. Before Dr. Sebi was teaching what he was teaching, Elijah Muhammad gave us how How to Eat to Live 2 volumes, and he popularized the 1 meal a day. Do you know how many people follow this 1 meal a day regimen, and they call it intermittent fasting? Intermittent fasting. They literally hijacked that from Elijah Muhammad and trying to take the credit from it. Man, Elijah Muhammad was teaching about that way back in the day before they termed it intermittent fasting. Elijah Muhammad then said eat 1 meal a day, but they was calling Elijah Muhammad all type of crazy. They was like, man, that ain't gonna work. That's not effective. You shouldn't do that. That's dangerous. Now they are actually pushing and promoting that. So that's crazy, man. Elijah Muhammad literally popularized 1 meal a day. And a lot of times when people are talking about losing weight, that's one thing that they do. And a lot of people not going to give credit to Elijah Muhammad for that. They going to call it intermittent fast. And I'm like, man, that was Elijah Muhammad telling you to eat 1 meal a day. Literally. He was teaching that way back in the day. Then they took it, remixed it, called it intermittent fasting, and then gave you different forms of it. Taking credit for it. That's sick. That's sick. That's sick, man. They don't want to give us credit for anything. They just want to make us look crazy. They made Elijah Muhammad look crazy for that. They made Dr. Sebi look crazy. They still making him look crazy. And then the crazy thing about it is they did a great job, such a great job on divide and conquer, that we bash these people more than they do. So black folks gonna bash Elijah Muhammad and How to Eat to Live more than white folks, more than Asians, more than Arabs. And black folks gonna bash Dr. Sebi more than the white folks, more than the Asians, more than the Arabs, because they have done a great job of divide and conquer. But man, you can't tell me, if you eating 1 meal a day, you cannot tell me that don't trace back to Elijah Muhammad. Can't tell me that. Because y'all know what was popular for the longest. Eat 3 meals a day. That was what was popular for the longest. Elijah Muhammad was teaching the opposite of that back then. Was telling you 1 meal a day. So you cannot tell me when somebody's eating 1 meal a day, you cannot tell me that don't trace back to Elijah Muhammad. I'm pretty sure people were doing it before then, but he popularized it amongst black folks back then, especially here in the wilderness of North America. But they gonna never give credit for him. You can read all these European authors writing about intermittent fasting, telling me about 1 meal a day, and how many of them give credit to Elijah Muhammad? How many of them quote How to Eat to Live? None of them. I read plenty of them. None of them quote that book or those 2 volumes. None of them. Don't even know it exists probably. So I got a big problem with that, man. Again, people got their opinions on Elijah Muhammad, but he definitely supplied us with that type of information and that type of work. So however you feel about Elijah Muhammad, cool. But he definitely gave you how to eat to live. And he definitely told you to eat 1 meal a day. And he definitely told people that when it really wasn't popular, when they was telling you to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I can tell you that. But they do not want to give credit to that man, because why? He's black, man, and he told you that. Ataka Zulu, I already know. I didn't have that in my family. You depressed, and they give you pills that elevate the depression, make the depression worse. Like, that don't even make any sense. Then you come back, they give you a stronger dosage of it. Oh, DJ Elmo, man, that's gonna be another video. Oh, D Monty, it's it. Like I say, we follow it more than they do. We follow it more than they do. Louisiana, it depends on how I'm feeling, man. Sometimes I drink the water plain. Sometimes I throw some wheatgrass powder in there, spirulina, chlorella. It just depends on how I'm feeling. It depends on how I'm feeling. But I throw the greens in the water for the most part. Yeah, I throw spirulina, wheatgrass, chlorella. I throw some of them joints in the water, man, and drink it like that. Get them nutrients in. Yeah, Justin, I used to see the crazy thing about my life, man. I used to have to take a lot of meds, man, because I had a lot of issues, man. I had hernias. at young ages, man. I had all type of respiratory problems, asthma, bronchitis, man. I was hooked up to breathing machines, man. I had a lot of situations that you probably wouldn't know. I had nosebleeds a lot, headaches. Man, I suffer from a lot. So I was always on some type of medication, getting shots and all type of stuff, man. And I believe that still has impacted me to this day. I'm sure it has. Oh, Sade Love, plastic surgery. No, I don't like the S word unless it has got to be very necessary. Like you have got to have had a car accident or something. And that's the only time I would say get some surgery, man. But I'm not really a fan of surgery unless it's like, I have seen some cases where it may have made a little bit of sense, man, where some women are like so top heavy that it's like impacting their back and all that type of stuff, man. That may be a time where it makes sense. But for the most part, I'm against any form of surgery. Tryon, peace. What's going on with you? Man, I'm trying to scroll through these comments, man. I'm trying to see what we chopping it up on. Oh, Tryon, you already know. Gotta accept self. Gotta accept self. Randy, you say Dr. Furman. I've read a few of his works. I haven't seen him give credit to him, so I haven't seen it thus far. I got a lot of books on intermittent fasting, and every time I see 1 meal a day, I'm like, all right, give credit to Elijah Muhammad. You have got to give that man credit, but they don't. And on top of that, even on top of that, they don't give credit to a lot of people. Don't know the Mucusless Diet healer system and Arnold Ehret. A lot of people don't give him credit. So it's like they start giving you all this information about intermittent fasting, fruitarian lifestyle, and they don't even quote him. Now, I be thinking that's interesting, man, but a lot of people do not be getting credit, but we know why, though. We know why, though. Oh, D Monty, and you know why they give them credit for that particular story, and people don't understand, too, that it's a story. All that story, and that's another thing that people don't realize, because it's in our lessons. People like, oh, do you literally believe in the Yaku story? I said, listen to what you said. Keyword, story. This is the way we break it. That's selective breeding. That's eugenics. That's all that the grafting process is. Eugenics, selective breeding. That's it. That's what the story is letting you know. Selective breeding and eugenics is an actual fact. It's something that actually exists. Whether somebody named Yakub actually existed, that I'm not debating that. I don't know. But I know eugenics and selective breeding is something that exists. But they want to just demonize him based on that story. And they want to say that he out here promoting the fairy tale things like that, when they don't even really know how we interpret that. The people that actually got the lessons that have the story in it. That's letting you know about their wickedness in regards to eugenics, selective breeding that actually exists out here. Oh, Terenzo, 100%. And what's crazy about it, I talked about that in regards to man, it was a culture in India. They do the reverse of what we do. We wear black to funerals. They wear white to funerals. So we look at black as a color to mourn and things like that. They view it the total opposite. So when it's a funeral, everybody is rocking white instead of black. It's a culture in India, and they tell you kind of exactly what Terenzo said. Is not verbatim. It's not verbatim, but they view white as that color to mourn. They actually view white as that negative color. The same way that we view black, or that we've been taught to view black, that's how they view the color white. Hence why they wear it at funerals. So it's crazy. Some cultures know the truth in regards to the whole black and white thing. They reversed it on us. They got us viewing black the way we supposed to view white. That's an actual fact. Sharif, man, peace. What's going on? DJ Elmo, yeah, the rosters don't get a lot of credit either. That's a good point. They definitely don't get a lot of credit. Definitely don't. That's a very good point. But they don't get a lot of credit. Yeah, DeMonte, Jewel Porkrum and Frances Cress Wilson. I would say Frances Cress Wilson more so, like she get a little bit more flowers than Jewel Porkram. You ain't gonna hear anybody mention Dr. Jewel Porkram a lot. Frances Cress Welsing gonna get hers a little bit more. But it's crazy though. We definitely got to do better. And what we got, Queen of Afua, she be out here dropping jewels. Magic Realms, man, no doubt. No doubt. But we got a lot of people that be dropping that information, man, especially when it comes to like health and fitness. But for the most part, that's why I feel like a lot of times we got to seek out information from our people first. I be feeling like that's important. And I feel like a lot of times we skip over that. We have been so subconsciously, like so brainwashed subconsciously, that we view white people as more of experts than we are. So it's like if we had an option to read a health book from a white author or a black author, got the same credentials, most black people gonna grab that book by that white author. They're gonna feel like it's more qualified. That's just how we've been programmed subconsciously. Guarantee you that to be an actual fact, man. If it's PhD and they see that white person, then if it's PhD and they see Dr. Llaila Afrika, they're gonna be like, hold on. They gonna grab that book by that white author, that white person, that white doctor. Because that's how we've been programmed subconsciously. Not saying everybody gonna do that, but for the most part, a lot of people, they say, all right, I'm gonna grab that book, man. That dude look like he know what he's talking about. I ain't finna grab this book by this brother that look like my pops or my brother or whatever the case may be. And that comes from a lot of self-hatred. They taught you to hate yourself, so you hate anything that looked like you. They didn't taught you to hate the black man. So you like, I ain't finna read no information from this black man. They didn't taught you to hate yourself. So you like, I ain't finna read anything from this black woman. I'm finna read something from these white folks. So that's where a lot of that comes from. CC, no doubt. And like I said, even when it comes to that, what you gonna find out, this the crazy thing. When you start doing the knowledge to some of these brilliant black experts out here, you gonna find out that a lot of y'all already know this though. You gonna find out that a lot of European folk are out here taking the same information and putting another label on it, just like with Elijah Muhammad. So like I was like, man, 1 meal a day. When I started reading about intermittent fasting, I was like, man, that sounds like what Elijah Muhammad was talking about. That sounds exactly like what Elijah Muhammad was talking about. See, what they do, they place labels on things. Like, for instance, plant-based, veganism. Like, this is what's funny about that. They place a label on it and they say that such and such coined the label. So they want to make it look like they created the lifestyle. You can travel to Africa and you can find people eating a plant-based lifestyle, but we ain't naming it as such. We may not even be naming it at all. We just eating according to how we naturally would eat. But they want to take it and say this is called the plant-based diet. They want to put the name on it so it can look like they created it. They discovered it. No, that's not what's happening. So they want to say they coined the term like people wasn't doing it before they found out about it. Come on, man. You got to know that. You got to know that people was eating a vegan lifestyle before this dude called Donald Watson, I believe is his name, coined the term vegan. You can't just think that this dude created this out of nowhere. You can't think that. But they have you thinking that, they have you believing that. They have you thinking and believing that. Like I said, we was out here doing a lot. We just wasn't out here naming the things like that. We probably used another name for it. We was just, man, we eating how we naturally should eat. Just, I mean, analyze the animal. Man, the animals ain't got no name for how they eat. The animals just eat according to how they supposed to eat. So we was out here just eating what our body, giving ourselves what we needed. We were supplying our bodies with what it needed. We wasn't like, oh, this is a plant-based lifestyle. We gonna call this veganism. Like, nah, we was just like, man, I'm finna eat these berries. Like, we went out here naming all these lifestyles. We ain't have to. He's like, man, this is what my body needs, this berry. I'm finna eat this berry. My body needs this sunlight. I'm finna get in this sun. My body need these dark leafy greens. I'm finna eat these dark leafy greens. Oh, this banana look like it's nutritious. I'm finna eat this banana. So they want to take it and they want to say this is called plant-based living. Elijah Muhammad say 1 meal a day. They gonna say we gonna call it intermittent fasting. See, I love it when they do that. I love it when they try to use scientific terms. Intermittent fasting. Nah, 1 meal a day, 2 meals a day. You know what I mean? Because that's what it is. Eat between the window. They want to say we're gonna call it intermittent fasting to make ourselves sound so scientific, make ourselves sound so intelligent. Elijah Muhammad just said 1 meal a day. And make sure the 1 meal is nutritious, well balanced. That's what he did, kept it simple. When you tell somebody intermittent fasting, average person gonna be like, what is that? What does that mean? If they don't have no knowledge or they don't even know what it means. But if I say eat 1 meal a day, they're gonna know exactly what I just said. Eat 1 meal a day. It's not complicated. And y'all know what I'm talking about. White folks should do things like that to you. And when you get directions, sometimes instead of saying left or right, they hit you with east or west. They tend to do things like that, trying to throw you off. So they do things like that, man. They be trying to do that, man. I cannot stand when they do that. Can't stand it. Can't stand it. Yeah, D Monty, it's not complex at all. Oh, original one. Hey, that quinoa is legit. That quinoa is peace. CC. The verdict is still like it's a lot of the hybrid. For example, broccoli is one of the foods that they say is a hybrid food. But when you study broccoli, it's a lot of benefits to broccoli. A lot of benefits. And I have consumed broccoli. And broccoli doesn't do anything that's harmful to me. So the verdict is still out. That's one of those situations where I experiment on my body. So I'm like, all right, let me do the knowledge. Let me experiment with the broccoli. So some of these foods, you just have to experiment. I receive a lot of benefits from consuming broccoli. But broccoli is one of the hybrid foods, one of the foods that Dr. Sebi or somebody will tell you to stay away from. That's when I may look at his plan and be like, I'm not following it to a T. But I get what he means when he tells you to stay away from it, when he calls it a hybrid food. I get that. But that's when it's time to experiment. See, D Monty, that's what I'm saying. See, it depends on who you're studying. The cruciferous family of vegetables, which cauliflower falls into that group, that particular family of foods, of vegetables, they have a lot of studies out here that let you know they have a lot of anti-cancer effects. So it's real. Those foods are supposed to be real powerful in regards to preventing and reversing cancer, specifically lung cancer. So again, the verdict is still out on a cruciferous family there, because they tell you that they have a lot of anti-cancer properties. Like I said, I haven't experienced any problems with cauliflower and broccoli. I've experienced benefits. They don't make me feel bad or anything. So on my end, from my experience, they do good to me, but they can do bad to the next person. So I feel like that's one of the situations where it depends on the person. LEN, just go back and watch everything that I read, because again, I'm just a messenger. Didn't say this was anything that I agree with 100%. I just read something from a book. Take what I read, research everything that may sound taboo to you, and come back to me. Again, I hear what you're saying. Not even finna argue what you're saying. I'm just a messenger of some information that may be different, that may be opposed to the status quo. So just take the information with an open mind and research what was read. That's all I'm asking. If you don't want to research what was read, then that is on you. But do not argue with what I read as if I wrote it. Research what I read. Grab the book that I recommended and suggested. Read the book. Then read the read the works that he the bibliography. Go to the bibliography and try to find some of the books that he quoted and referenced. Then we have the discussion. Yeah, Ellie, there you go. Just go back and watch it from the beginning, because again, I just asked for everybody to have an open mind towards this discussion. because I know it's a sensitive topic. So I already know where you would come from in regards to arguments. I've heard that all. I already know how you could be feeling. So just go ahead and rewind it back and just listen to what was read. Then if you disagree with what was read, then that's cool. Just grab the book and then do a little researching and then come back to me. And I'll be happy to hear what you disagreed with and why you disagree with it. That'll actually be valuable information. Like, that'll actually be some valuable information. I appreciate that actually. CC, yep. And man, I wish I had some more time. I wish I had some more time, man, but I got to make a move. I got to get up to this gym. Got a long little day ahead of me, a long night, I should say. But man, I appreciate y'all tapping in, tuning in, listening to this valuable information, man. We giving y'all information this month, man. We going hard on this information. I'm about to be coming out the woodworks with some things that y'all might not be familiar with. So we really gonna be bringing the information to the table. Really gonna be bringing information to the table, powerful information. But I gotta tap out, y'all, man. This was a peaceful stream. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all take it easy. Y'all enjoy the rest of this Monday. I'm gonna tap back in with y'all tomorrow, man. I'm out, y'all. Peace.